Hi, and welcome to another episode of Bespoke Architects Daily Pinup. I'm Nicole Walters, Director of Bespoke Architects, and I'm about to show you what inspiring architectural images made our Pinterest boards today. There was a lot of really inspiring and great detailing ideas that I wanted to share today. Let's start, as we always do, in the top left corner here where my cursor is. This pavilion, we've got some outside shots of it further down the board, but this method of storing wine with just brackets coming off of the wall is so elegant and simple. And the fact that it's done in this concrete chamber, I guess you would say, or cellar maybe is even better, a wine cellar. I really like the way that appears, like the bottles are floating and the labels add the color to that room. So I just thought that was a really great way to do wine storage. From that project also we can see just the way that the core 10 and the form integrate with that sloping site was really interesting. That's an entry door at a lower level, and then we've got sort of a living level above, and then we can see some detailing on that screen when it's retracted. So it covers the whole box or it retracts back, and then we have this glass balustrade on the inside. So I really just thought that was a project full of beautiful detailing, and of course it's really playing to my preferred color palettes of concretes and core 10s. So that's why that one made the board today. The Natima Street house, I should say, again around detailing. This is the first image that caught my eye, and this is an outside image of the materials. We can see here they've got some vertical cladding, a recessed door, some sort of three-dimensional vertical cladding, and then the number. The only thing that my eye is struggling to deal with is the fact that the space between this rib and then the next bay is different, and the fact that the ribs don't actually line up with the vertical cladding above. Two things that bugged me in that image, but the idea and the intent behind it is wonderful, and that's why it's made the board. From that same project, the kitchen, now we can see that the material palette, color palette from the outside now comes to the inside. You'll see a couple of other black kitchens. If you'll excuse me, my office lights have turned off, telling me it's time for me to go home. Let me just use my Clipsal Wiser app and turn them back on. Technology, it's wonderful. Like I was saying, there are a lot of black kitchens that I pinned today. This one I pinned for the material palette. So it's black, but it's got a wood grain. So it's got a texture. It's not a matte black that we're going to see in a couple of other ones. Black kitchens are still very much on trend here in Australia, and we're seeing a lot of them. And my only comment to clients is always, black does suck the light out of the room, so then you need to have really good lighting. So in this one we see a lot of white walls around it, some really big openings, like some huge openings at that black kitchen, and also the pale coloured floor is really helping that. I really like the wet room in their bathroom, so that's where we've got a shower and a bath together in a fully tiled sort of enclosure with a glass screen, and we can see a skylight above. Again, important because they've picked a really dark tile to run through that bathroom space, and the hob bath that we can see there in the background has been tiled in that same sort of dark grey tile. So it's obviously the client's color palette. I have no problem with that. It's then about the detailing around it and the color palette around it that prevent that room from becoming too dark and adding some more light. Also from that project, we can see the steel mesh internal steel stair. And again, they've gone for an open tread, which does allow that light to sort of play down through that staircase itself. So I really enjoyed that out of that project. The system, smart and contactless home, it was actually this booth seating at the end of the island bench, and the way that it turns into this big curve like an old-fashioned diner with its padded seating, that was the appeal in that image. The Ramper House, it was all about the mix of materials. So we have what we would call here in Australia a concrete breeze block, breaking up the solid white material on that elevation, and then there's some cantilevers happening. So it's a very interesting elevation. It is a flat two-story elevation, so it could look enormous if it was just one material without that break that's happening there. So I really like that as an elevation. Another dark kitchen, Again, we can see they've gone for a white gloss tile floor and a grey ceiling with light at the end. It does feel much darker than this kitchen just due to the fact that it's, 3 walls of black. The other comment I would make is I think for me, working in a space laid out like this where we've got a fridge and a wall oven, some bench, dishwasher, sink and induction cooktop, the fact that there's a table stopping my workflow would really annoy me. So I'd prefer, if it were me as a cook, to have those benches closer together and nothing interrupting my workflow in the middle of that space. But that's just personal preference as a chef. That's not necessarily, an architectural criticism. Moving through the boards, this particular project, it was the way they'd integrated that glass balustrade into the riser of the stairs, so we can see that that's cut into the stair tread itself. So I thought that was really beautiful. Detailing there. This image here, houses from San Francisco's modern housing. I just really like the cantilevers that were created within this form, the fact that the top floor is darker, making it recede, even though it's probably in line with the lighter sandstone portion of the middle floor, and we can see some screening balancing that. So it's a really asymmetrical design. It's got some beautiful cantilevers happening, and it's got a real depth into that facade with light and shadow receding elements, as opposed to this elevation, which is just a flat 2-story elevation broken by material. Looking around on the board, the tree house had some really beautiful landscaping in it. These are the gates to the street that I really liked. We can see the intercom here to the right of that gate. These are the same stairs that lead up, so they're a landscape step, and they've made it to my landscape board because they are in fact a beautiful step or set of stairs. And we can see that concrete, sort of plays well in this space. I really like this precast bench. I say that because of the shadow line that I can see in that image. Again, this powder room, it's got a full height mirror, and I mean full height, not as in floor to ceiling to vanity, but rather floor to ceiling, with this wall hung vanity sitting in front of it, and then it's underlit, and then it's got some really soft lighting next to it. So that's not a bathroom that you want to be putting on makeup in or doing maintenance to your face in, because you are not going to get good task lighting in that, particularly with the wall color. But it is a beautiful, soft, very flattering light space to find yourself as a guest. So that's why that has made the board. In contrast, we have this very bright blue bathroom where the vanity is tiled. We see that same wall tile. And the thing that really appealed to me, I passed over this image and went back, was the way that this light fitting here has been incorporated into that vanity, and the fact that the mirror vanity sits only over half of that basin. As a play of materials and as a balanced composition, I really enjoy the mirror, the negative space, the window. I think using that bathroom, the fact that the mirror is only over half of it, although it is in line, would drive me just a little batty. Again, personal preference for the user. Back to the tree house. Found this study joinery to just be delightful. I mean, we've got a lot of natural light in this space. We've got floor to ceiling doors here, a very light ceiling, if not skylights above, and then this beautiful window, and this is the bit that caught my eye. So we've got full height storage either side, and then we've got this beautiful book storage underneath, and then this enormous sort of highlight window, frameless, catching the view of the treetops and the clouds. So inspiring. It's very much like a much smaller scale window that I have at home that makes me want to go home and redo that particular window. That's how much I like that one. Same project, we can see here a shower. It's sort of like a wet room, if you will. We've just got a shower screen dividing it to the rest of the bathroom. It does have a curtain that runs around. We can see the curved track there in the ceiling. It appears to be a door at the end of that shower, so maybe it is an access from outside situation if you're close to the beach. I find it fascinating that both the floor grill and the shower mixer appear to be on the outside of that shower curtain, not the inside. And I would have thought this joinery unit shelf that runs through, it doesn't appear to be tiled. There is tile going around it. I don't know. I don't know about running that through so the shower curtain doesn't go all the way through, it stops before the shelf, so the curtain run at the top doesn't match the shelf below, and then it feels like the mixer's on the wrong side to me. Like you've retracted that shower curtain all the way around, you're having a shower, you want to turn the water off, you've got to move the curtain all the way back to get to that tap. That's a bit strange. But I like the material palette and I like the concept. It would need refinement if I was going to undertake it. Also from that project is the kitchen. So we can see a detail of that island bench, which was up here. We can now see it down here. It is a beautiful island bench. Again, we've got another frameless high clerestory window there, similar to the study. We've bookended it with high storage, and then we've just got a shelf and some storage, a rather long, like this is an incredibly long island bench and kitchen island back wall. So, and assumably at the end in that plywood is potentially a butler's pantry housing our fridge. But again, I just really like that as a material palette. This is an external shot. I just like the way the sliding doors, and it's got to be a 3-panel door. Looking at the size of the panel left and the opening space, I really liked that. The staircase, it's really soft and really fine, and then it's got this beautiful skylight above, so that was very appealing. We move projects now to another black kitchen. Again, we can see a bit of a texture in that, so it's not flat black. And again, they've gone for obviously a really reflective sort of brushed brass as a bench top and a splashback, really to try and get some light around in that joinery so it's not completely dark, but you can see that up here it's really sucking the light out of the room. And then we see it here on the living room side. We can see some inbuilt speakers into that joinery unit, and assumably the TV is potentially behind a panel that moves, or possibly a screen that retracts. So it's a beautiful room divider. It potentially has got the kitchen on the other side, and I really just like that material, but again, mindful that the palette around it is very light to carry that dark sort of room divider. And then again, from that project is this particular bathroom vanity. It's the soft sort of teledecked Venetian plaster look, which is waterproof. And then it's got the shaving cabinet above. It seems to have either a fixed panel or 2 different size doors, but I just thought that was a beautiful, beautiful vanity unit. And then finally from that project is the car parking. It's a really interesting way. It's more than a carport, as in it's got 2 walls, but it's not quite a garage, as in it's missing 2 walls. So the shape of it and the material palette, I mean, it's a beautiful and well detailed, probably particularly expensive carport / garage, but I do really, really like that. That is all the images I have for you today. I'll leave you here with a bedroom image, the master bedroom at Golf Course House, Bespoke House number 4. Again, this particular project, the clients have a lot of art, a lot of beautiful art, and we've gone through and put in a gallery style hanging system for them in that particular room so that they can suspend all their artwork from these fixed rails that sit up high, and that way they can interchange their artwork as they feel the season requires. So thank you so much for joining me of another episode of Bespoke Architects Daily Pinup. I will see you tomorrow. Until then, take care. Bye.